I have 990 more games to beat and talk about, so let's not waste any more of my or your time as I get to my goal of beating 1000 games and talking about them on the Nintendo Switch series of consoles. Now, just for clarity, I am not beating 10 games a week. These games that I'm talking about today, I have already beaten in the years past. I am talking about them now, and that is the goal. Beat and talk about. So, once that goal is completed, I'll be really happy. Will I get to it? Who knows? But we are going to start off today's episode with an absolute banger. Unicorn Overlord. Unicorn Overlord is not a tactical turn-based strategy. However, it is indeed a strategy game. And a damn good one at that. You play as an exiled prince who must reunite his kingdoms to defeat a once loyal general who has taken over as a tyrant and who has taken your mother, and who will stop at nothing for the ultimate power. If you know Vanillaware, then you know that they are masters of excellent storytelling and amazing graphics. Unicorn Overlord shines brightly in both of those regards, but this game also has two types of strategic gameplay that separates its combat from other RTSs. The real-time movement of troops requires some hands-on precision, where you need to guide those troops, how long it will take to get a certain enemy, and who you want to match up against. Then, once the battle begins, you are pretty much hands-off. You're kind of watching and observing what happens. The goal here is to have your troops set for certain commands, so you know who's doing what. But more importantly, you need to know the matchup. You need to know what troops you have on your squad and what the enemy has, so that you can counter them and beat them in battle. It's a strategy, at least the second part of it, that I did not particularly enjoy because it's too hands-off. But the first part, the real-time strategy movement mechanics, that is pretty cool. Looking beyond the combat, the voice dialogue, the storytelling, a lot of the characters are really well done. This game received a lot of acclaim for a reason. Definitely, if you get a chance, try this one out. On to a game that is not easily explained. We're talking about Needy Girl Overdose, also known in some regions as Needy Streamer Overdose. This is, like I said, somewhat of a hard game to explain, but its themes deal with the pressure of being a popular streamer. Luckily, I will never have to worry about that. But imagine you land your dream managerial job. Your job is remote, and all you really have to do is manage your streamer's schedule. Give them, her in this case, the right advice on who to meet, what to do, what to pursue, and what to stay away from. How hard can that be? Well, that is your role in this game. And let's just say that a few bad decisions and your career is toast. Needy Girl Overdose is not everyone's cup of tea. It is very heavy on the management sim aspects, a lot of dialogue, a lot of storytelling. The music itself is pretty cool. It has that 80s techno / a vibe, like a gamer's type of music. I don't know how to describe it, but it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. It is pretty much a visual novel. However, like I said, there are some decisions that you're going to make that really affect the outcome. You mess up any of those decisions, and you are really going to be questioning your leadership and decision making. If anyone has played this crazy game, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because I am curious as to what outcome you got. My ending, let's just say it's a bit shocking. Certain things in this world simply don't make any sense. Chicken and Waffles, Parkways and Driveways, and of course, Mario and Rabbids. I didn't know what I was getting into with Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, but I was pleasantly surprised. This game is pretty awesome. I know I love most tactical turn-based RPGs, but Ubisoft has some very talented studios, and this game is another step in proving just that. The graphics style may be a bit cartoony and whimsical, but the strategic gameplay is quite deep. I also really appreciate that each character feels very important and unique. Sadly, you can't use them all, but for my playthrough, I found most balance when I was using a combination of both Mario and Rabbid characters. I guess they did that on purpose. The game received a sequel, which was equally impressive. I'll talk about that in some other video, but I really do hope that we get a third game in the series, because regardless of whether you like Rabbids or not, you can't question the game's uniqueness. If we do get a third game, I'll be there day one. You will most likely feel different sets of emotions when I announce the title Trails series, of course. Perhaps it's the guilt or sadness for not playing any of the games. Maybe it's a little bit of joy and anxiety for finishing a few in the series, but still having a few in your backlog. Or even perhaps for you lucky few, it's the jubilation for beating every game in this long-running, fantastic RPG franchise. Well, I envy you because I am somewhere in the middle. Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel 3 is one of the best turn-based RPGs that you'll ever play. I'm talking about the series, of course, but the third entry is pretty solid too. If you ever do decide to dive into this RPG series, the time investment is steep, but they are almost certainly worth it. I keep telling myself that I will start Cold Steel 4, but I just have not done it. Well, enough is enough. I have decided that I'll start playing 4 this week. If you like turn-based RPGs with great storytelling, awesome, and I mean awesome characters, then just take the plunge. You will not regret it. Stop me if you've heard games that play like roguelikes with a card-based battle system. Slay the Spire may be the GOAT, but Banner of Ruin is not bad at all. I kept playing and playing and playing till I got to the finish line. Roguelikes are about finding that perfect combination, which, honestly, may take you a few tries, but once you build that perfect combo, you are practically unstoppable. This game is heavy on strategic builds and how you use your cards. The game is difficult but fair, and the final boss is much easier than that other card-based roguelike, you heartless monster. Banner of Ruin was a pleasant surprise, and could be worth your time and money. I feel like some games really need no talking or explanation, but I'm here to do that anyways. I mean, what else do you want me to say about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Yeah, you can add me to the list of millions who have played, beaten, and thoroughly enjoyed their time with this universally acclaimed kart racer. The Switch may not have Forza or Gran Turismo, but when you have Mario Kart, who cares? Is this the greatest game of all time on the Switch? Certainly not for me, but if you consider it the greatest game, I'm certainly not complaining. Next up is Donkey Kong Bonanza. You already know what this game is, even if you haven't played it, so I'm going to talk about something else. People may find it hard to believe, but Donkey Kong, not Mario, but Donkey Kong was the OG face of the franchise for Nintendo. I'm talking before the NES. when Nintendo was known for its Game & Watches and arcade games. The NES, in a way, ruined Donkey Kong's career because all of the big guns, like Miyamoto, for example, were fully committed to Mario. The only reason why the SNES is different is because of Rare, but sadly, even they rejected poor Donkey Kong. I mean, it's fairly obvious that Banjo got all the love from Rare on the N64. And while they did release a DK game on there, nobody really talks about it. So pretty much since the SNES, it's all been about Mario. And I'm sick and tired of it. So when the Switch 2 released with Bonanza at the helm, I for one was very pleased because my childhood mascot was back. And the only thing I have left to say now is, take a seat, Mario. You've been benched. I have never played Detective Pikachu, but I have played and beaten Jenny LeClue. Supposedly, this game plays just like Detective Pikachu, but to me, this is just an awesome mystery adventure game. Whenever I buy a budget game, say less than $5 from the eShop, I, in the back of my head, am expecting a shovelwarian crapfest. Not a good attitude, but it happens too often. Not the case with this game though, at all. As a matter of fact, I was surprised with the high quality voice acting. The rest of the game isn't too shabby either. I mean, who doesn't enjoy solving a murder mystery? The graphical style of this game is pretty good too. And like I said, for the typical $2 to $5 price, playing this game and getting this game is a no-brainer. Unlike many gamers out there, I really enjoy my sports games. Realistic, arcade, it doesn't really matter. I like them all. But I believe that NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 is a game that even non-sports gamers would certainly enjoy. If you crave over-the-top arcade basketball action, then 2K Playgrounds 2 is for you. I like its casual style and somewhat simplistic gameplay. Each and every arcade basketball is going to be compared to NBA Jam. And while it's not as over the top, in my opinion, the time that I spent with it was still quite enjoyable. Boom shakalaka, baby. Just try it out. You may find this very hard to believe, but the next game that I'm going to be talking about is a tactical turn-based RPG called Absolute Tactics: Daughters of Mercy. And just in case there were any doubts, this game is indeed Absolute Tactics. If I'm being very honest, the game to me is pretty average, but an average tactics game is still a good time for me. Just for clarity, I really do enjoy the tactics aspects of the game, including the special abilities that you get and use throughout its 25 to 30 hour campaign. My main quarrel with the game is its story, but if you're not so hell-bent on playing absolutely amazing stories and like tactical RPGs similar to the way I do, then this is certainly a game you would enjoy. I also like the fact that the team size is relatively small. I kind of, get tired of too many characters on your roster, trying to balance them out all the time. Some don't even get to play that often. It kind of bothers me. So whenever you have a smaller roster of characters that all play a role, I think that's a positive in my book. Plus, your main character has a dog for a companion, which is quite useful in battles. So yeah, if you guys like dogs, then there's that as well. The graphics also look pretty nice. For me, it was an enjoyable experience. And with that, folks, we are done with yet 10 more games. As you can probably guess, we have a lot more to go. So in the near future, well, sometime in the near future, I'll be bringing you the next episode. But until then, take care.